Hey guys, you're probably wondering why you just heard the Avengers theme song, and that is because for this video, I want to talk about the pilot episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that's showing right now on ABC. They just showed the pilot episode tonight. Filmed this shortly after the pilot episode was shown on their channel. I know it's different time zones for different cities, different states, but in the Madison area where I live, it was recently shown. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with this. This is definitely one of the better TV experiences I've had in a while. Um, for those who remember, like Firefly and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and a bunch of other stuff Joss Whedon's done for TV, I definitely think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely in that realm of epic shows that, even though they have very little budgets, they do a lot with that budget. They make every dollar count. And I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely going to go down as one of those shows that does that. Um, so in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you guys, we basically get Agent Coulson back from the dead. They really don't talk about it a lot, but we just kind of have to accept that he's back from the dead somehow. Something happened in the Avengers that didn't quite kill him the way we thought it would, or that it did. Um, so he's back, and Shield is recruiting a bunch of new agents. Agent Hill from the Avengers, played by Kobe Smulders, reprises her role in this episode from the Avengers to play Agent Hill again. She recruits all these new agents. Coulson recruits someone that we didn't see in the Avengers, but from what we hear throughout the episode, she's worked for Shield for a while. Um, and now she's back on board. She's going to help Shield with these current missions that are going on, along with these new agents. And throughout this first episode, I'm going to try to be as spoiler free as I can, and I'm also trying not. I'm trying to connect things with certain things in the Marvel universe that I think are going to be significant later on. That are going to strongly hint toward certain series of certain franchises in the Marvel universe. But I do want to give you the synopsis of the rest of the episode, being as spoiler free as I can. So basically, these agents go after this guy that they call the Hooded Hero. I don't want to say his other name because that might be a potential spoiler, that they were calling him throughout the episode. But basically, he recruited. He was able to save somebody in a building early on in the episode, and they try to track him down. He has this device, and he's infected with something where if you've seen, let's just say, a recent Marvel film, you'll kind of know what that exposure to that certain thing is. Um, so he's suffering from it, but he has this technological device that gives him superpowers and helps him fight this thing off that I don't want to spoil. And Basically, Shield tries to track him down, make sure he doesn't do anything bad, make sure he doesn't do anything villainous with his powers, or if he does something heroic, that they keep it contained, and make sure the press doesn't get all over him and stuff like that. So basically, throughout this episode, these new agents that we're being exposed to over time, and us as the audience are getting used to. We're getting used to Coulson coming back, and Agent Hill, and this Asian agent that apparently has been around in the Shield for a while, but now she's back on the field. Actually going out and doing things with these other agents, and that was basically the first episode. It was about an hour long, and from what I know of the rest of the series, what they're going to do so far, sounds like it is going to be 1 hour long episodes. But it is unfortunate that Joss Whedon, from the sounds of it, is only directing this first pilot episode, and then they're going to get new directors for the next few episodes throughout the next few weeks. So Joss Whedon, I think, is going to work on Avengers 2 now, while these other directors work on other episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But for the positives and negatives, since this is a TV show and it's a TV show episode, I'm not going to do what I do for movie reviews and give a 1 to 10 scale rating, but I am going to talk about some things that I liked and didn't like, and kind of where I'm really hoping the series is going to go, and some things that I really think the series can improve upon as future episodes happen. For the positives, guys, I loved all the Marvel film references in here. Without spoiling anything, I was able to catch Spider-Man references, Iron Man 3 references, Thor references, Hulk references, Captain America references. Um, they, just a bunch of references to, if you're familiar with the Marvel Universe, you're going to be able to catch on to them right away. I found a potential Luke Cage reference, a potential, I forget the name of the African American Spider Man, but I caught a reference to him. I caught a reference to, just a bunch of other um, potential Marvel Universe connections that they might have throughout the series. Um, I thought these new agents that we were introduced to, were interesting. Some of these new characters were interesting as well. Like I said, I really liked this hooded hero character that we were introduced to in this first episode. I thought the set pieces were very fitting. That's another positive I have for this pilot episode. You definitely got the impression that this was like a hidden base that Shield would have. These are places that Shield would go to, both on and off duty for certain things. Um, for a TV show, I thought this had great TV special effects. I thought, for what they had to work with, and like I said, making every dollar count. For what they had, these were pretty good TV special effects, and it didn't feel direct to video. It didn't feel cheap. It actually felt like they actually had money to make this. So I'm glad that Joss Whedon was able to balance his budget to make this seem worthwhile, and like they spent a lot of money and time with this show. Um, I like that it's both an agent show and a superhero show. It's not just about the Marvel heroes, but it's not just about the agents of Shield. It's kind of a marriage of the two, and I kind of like how this show is about both of those things. And I think over time, if you just like secret agent stuff, or if you just like superhero stuff, you'll be happy either way because this show is about both those things and not just one or the other. Um, I would love to see more episodes of the show. I think I heard somewhere that there's going to be 22 episodes in this first season, and if people really like the show, they'll make second and third season and so on. I would really like to see that happen. I would really like to see, and I like how they're going to have, from what I'm aware of, they're going to have an episode every Tuesday. So it sounds like next week they're going to have Tuesday at 7 Central. They're going to show the second episode of Agents of Shield. So I really hope they really continue this show, because if they can keep this show as awesome as what I just saw here in this pilot episode, I would be a really happy person. Um, for the negatives, you guys, there is certain parts of the show where it's just like, this feels too TVized. It feels like you can definitely tell certain scenes where they definitely had a much tighter budget. Either that the environment seems too claustrophobic, or they're using some type of CGI in the scene, and it just kind of seems a little cheap. But it's a TV show. They got to save the money for future episodes, so the future episodes don't look dull, and they don't just have all the money spent on this episode. So I guess that's just the budgeting thing. But at the same time, just like the show is so awesome and epic, and but when you see those little moments, it's like that seems a little cheap. It just kind of bothers you, because just like I really wish they could have just done something neater and not have to worry about budget. Um, how they brought Agent Coulson back, I thought was really lazy. Not going to get into spoilers. Not even really much of a spoiler. Like I said, they really don't talk about it a lot. It's very, very brief, and it just kind of feels lazy. Just kind of like, well, we're going to bring Coulson back into the mix. So I really would have liked to have seen a reason for him to come back. Um, I just, it's great to have him back. I think they could have found a better reason to bring him back, to be honest, because the one that they did, from what I heard and saw, or when they did talk about it, really comes off as lazy to me. I would have liked to have a much better reason as to why Coulson was able to come back for the show. Um, I also don't like that Agent Coulson seems too serious and almost over exaggerated at times. There's some scenes in here where he almost sounds like Nick Fury, like he almost sounds too commanding and too serious. And if you look back at the Marvel movies, he's kind of goofy. He's a leader, but he's just kind of like what we saw in Iron Man 2 with him and Tony Stark, acting around each other. Like, I'm going to make you drool on the ground, make you watch Super Nanny while I supervise you and stuff like that. That side of him was kind of gone to me in this show. He almost kind of felt too Nick Fury-ish to me. He felt too serious at times, almost too commanding, like, you've got to be doing this right now and stuff, which is fine for certain moments, but after a while, it's just like, I felt like I wasn't watching Agent Coulson. Clark Gregg did a great job. I think they made him too serious in certain scenes. I think that's where there's one part of me that's just like, oh, I really wish they could have changed that. And there were certain parts that felt a little over exaggerated. Um, let's just say the Lola car that he drives around, they briefly showed in the trailers. There's a feature to it that's just kind of like, okay, whatever, and this kind of thing. And it's a TV show, it's fantasy, but it just kind of feels a little over exaggerated. So for those who've seen the entire episode, you're gonna know what I mean by that final moment of the show of what Lola can really do and why Agent Coulson likes to drive Lola around. Um, but I really like this show, you guys. I really hope Marvel does a lot more with this. I really hope they keep to their promise of 22 episodes and potentially doing another season or so after this one that is just as powerful as this one. I really like that a lot. I hope Joss Whedon is still a part of it, even though it sounds like he's not going to be directing any episodes for this show anytime soon again. He just kind of helped them get started. Um, but it sounds like Marvel does have a good lineup of episodes for us throughout the rest of the fall season, and I really hope this show stays on task of maintaining the epicness of this first episode. And I plan on doing another reaction video of episode 2 when that comes out next week. So I hope to see you guys next week for another talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.